We have all seen the Ezra Miller headlines, but just in case you need a quick refresher. With that being said, we all know that The Flash has been delayed for quite some time now. It was originally slotted for 2018, then somehow found a way to be slotted for 2022, and now it's apparently going to be June 2023. I don't think any of us would be shocked if it was delayed even further. Meanwhile, Batgirl was another DC project having trouble being released, and the timeline was mostly unknown. The initial plan was to release the project straight to HBO Max, then later a report cited that Warner Brothers wanted to theatrically release it, most likely due to Netflix's declining numbers. It is now late 2022, and the film has been scrapped. The $90 million film will never be seen by general audiences. Warner Brothers is simply citing that the movie did not reach the quality they were expecting, while DC hasn't been putting out the highest quality for quite some time. So what gives? And why did a most likely mediocre Batgirl film get cancelled, but not the extremely problematic Flash movie that will probably be of similar quality? Oh, Ezra Miller, how you have pulled out every hair of every hotshot in Warner Brothers. From a distance, my initial assumption was that this movie just couldn't be cancelled. You have to get some return out of your product that has been in the works for the last 10 years. My opinion on trying to cancel a movie over a problematic person is usually it's pretty stupid, as many other people work on a film. I will tell you my opinion is really being challenged here by Ezra Miller's actions. So let's amend the opinion to, unless the face of the film is literally the devil. Warner Brothers have been exploring three options: letting Ezra apologize, which would be absolutely hilarious, no press for Ezra Miller during release, or just scrapping the film altogether. To me, it has to be 2 or 3, but I prefer 2 just because they have spent so much money on this film. Allow a conclusion to the saga. The film is currently sitting at around $200 million in cost, and I'm sure people would ironically see the movie. Of course, people will protest it because of the damage Ezra Miller has caused people. It would be pretty close to impossible to just scrap a $200 million project when releasing it would make at least some money back. Now, is it ethical? I mean, they couldn't have predicted Ezra Miller to be the spawn of the devil. The investment is quite large, but I don't think anybody is anticipating a great movie here. I'm sure after this movie comes out and it bombs and the quality is terrible, we can all look back and say, well, you canceled the other movie because of the quote quality. Look, the Flash is a high priority character for DC, even if it will be the last Ezra Miller film. The character has a lot of name value, and the high price to the project most likely will result in a better box office performance when coupling other factors. My final opinion on this is, how mad can you be at a corporation for rolling out their huge investment even with the problematic star? Recast Ezra after this film and just act like none of this ever happened. Don't try to come in front of the allegations because, come on, too much damage has been done. Wow, so crazy that a corporation doesn't care about releasing a movie with a terrible person as the lead. I thought corporations were good. First off, I want to give context to the situation as well as I can. David Zaslav is new to the role of CEO, officially named in May of 2021, so it would make sense he's trying to set the comic book films apart from the awful movies made prior. Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Green Lantern, Justice League, and so many other terrible films have been made recently. Even if the product of Batgirl wasn't to par, don't you think there could have been enough to market this film? I personally haven't heard a thing about this movie besides it being cancelled. Maybe it's just because I'm not super connected to the Marvel and DC space, but I had no idea Michael Keaton was coming back as Batman. Do we not believe that Michael Keaton coming back as Batman could have been used as a selling point? As a businessman, Zaslav should be happy about how DC movies have performed even when they're universally canned. Y'all, Justice League made like $700 million. I know these movies are really expensive, but they still make a lot of money back. It's almost like you're in charge of a huge fan base that will be critical of your work but will ultimately see it. They are now using Batgirl as a tax write-off to make some of the $90 million budget back. Another reason why it seems like it's getting canceled is because the price of the film was based off the assumption that it would be for streaming, so a lesser product than a theatrical release. With the recent trend away from streaming service films, Batgirl was in an odd spot of not being, quote, high enough quality for a theatrical release. And a point I'd like to bring up again, DC and Marvel's side hustle is making movies. They make tons of money from their films, I know, but the other streams of income are just so much more important. I know the films bring more coverage to their characters, but at the end of the day, merchandise is king for these companies. Billions of dollars are made with significantly less work than a movie production and promotion. Movies act as a marketing tool that also make money. So how bad could Batgirl really be that it would be a net negative on the company to release? The character hasn't been used in a while, so maybe it surges some merchandise. The film had a good chance to make its money back, most likely just because of Michael Keaton. Regardless of how shit the product is, there is always a promotional team that can find success in a bad product. At least release to HBO Max in a few years, we need to see this. So is it hypocritical? I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's funny to point out how they aren't even willing to roll out Batgirl. Unless Zaslav is some film buff, I'm going to guess he's no better at gauging if the products are going to be high quality. I just don't believe he knows how bad or good Batgirl would have been. It's a cowardly move, and quite frankly, it's a lazy move. Now, am I mad that this Flash movie is most likely coming out? No, as long as they don't draw attention to themselves. Make it Ezra's last film with the company, move on, create space, and try to create a new storyline for the character. All the anger should be pointed towards Warner Brothers for avoiding all risk with releasing Batgirl when there is plenty of reason it could have been successful financially.
Come on over here! Come on, Tower!